Hello there, thanks for tuning in. This video is going to focus on place value, also known as expanded form, versus partial sums. There's been many questions about the difference between these two non-standard algorithms. Partial sums is a method that we remember from our everyday math program. Place value expanded form is some language that we are using from the Common Core standards. For our work today, we're going to look at this equation. 687 plus 292. We're going to look at place value expanded form versus partial sums. In the partial sums algorithm, the student is looking at the ones, the tens, and the hundreds in this case, and putting those together as partial sums. So we have 7 plus 2, which is 9. We have 80 plus 90, which is 170. And we have 600 plus 200, which is 800. Those are all the partial sums that go along with this equation. From there, the student adds the partial sums. One of the concerns that was voiced by our teachers when we had professional development was that the students have difficulty lining up the partial sums. One of the things that you can do is start with adding the hundreds. So 600 plus 200 is 800. This helps your student keep everything in line. 80 plus 90 and 7 plus 2. Either way you promote this method in your classroom is appropriate, whether starting with the ones or starting with the hundreds. This is one example of partial sums. We're going to go on to look at partial sums and how it is tied to the place value and expanded form, and why sometimes these two methods are a bit confusing. So let's take a look at our same example. I'm going to write it over here on this side of the paper because I'm going to need room on the left side of the paper to show the expansion. So for our first partial sum, we have 600 plus 200, and that gives us our 800. So this is to help your students know where these partial sums come from. And our next partial sum is 80 plus 90. And our last partial sum is 7 plus 2. And so the student is able to see these partial sums and where they came from, and it ties it very much to the place value expanded form. And let's just show what that would look like. So we would have 600 plus 80 plus 7, 200 plus 90 plus 2. We'd stack them like this. The last thing I want to look at with partial sums is answering the question that some teachers have had. And the question is, what if the partial sums force the issue of having to regroup? So I have an example here where the sum is going to be an answer that is within 1,000, and these non-standard algorithms are used for second and third graders, and the standard states specifically use those standards when adding and subtracting within 1,000. So what are our partial sums here? So our first partial sum is 800. Our next partial sum is 170. And our last partial sum is 16. And we have some pretty high numbers here. And just by the nature of this algorithm, I don't see that there's going to be an opportunity where the student is going to have to do some regrouping. I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any further questions about the place value expanded form or the partial sums form for addition in 2nd and 3rd grade, please let me know.